I'd like to call this Finance Committee meeting to order. The first thing we have to do is executive session.
I'll make a motion that we go into executive session at 5:33 p.m. for the purpose of preparing for conducting or reviewing negotiations or bargaining sessions with employees concerning their compensation and the terms and conditions of their employment.
Second. Clerk, please call the roll.
Lamb.
Yes.
Hilbert.
Yes.
Shields.
Yes.
Coin.
Yes.
Simpson.
Yes.
Rose.
Yes.
Olson.
Yes.
We'll be recessing to the mayor's office. We'll be coming back to reconvene the Finance Committee. And we're taking action on the things that we're discussing?
Yes, sir.
We'll be taking action on the items we discussed in the executive session. So let's recess and we'll be back in how long? Probably 10 minutes? 15 minutes? 10, 15 minutes. We'll reconvene the Finance Committee meeting. Next item we have on the agenda is assignment for request for council action. We have several for finance. We have 14-198 healthcare renewal, 14-199 SPCA 2015 animal welfare services, 14-200 budget amendments, 14-201 increased PO 2014-1022 HSH construction, 14-202 amending ordinance 12614 Securitech, 14-203 expenditure of $15,000 for Montrose Ford for streets, 14-204 increased PO 2014-1415 Jetco Inc., 14-205 resolution accepting amounts and rates of budget commission, 14-206 increased PO 2014-1068 Butcher and Son, 14-207 increased PO 2014-575 Wingfoot Tire Systems, 14-208 expenditure over $15,000 Fram Construction Streets, 14-209 increased PO 2014-1725 Mid-Ohio Concrete Engineering, 14-210 payment South Court Street Emergency Water Line and Pavement, 14-211 accept easements West Smith Road various parcels, 14-212 accept 2 easements Lake Road Phase 2, 14-213 fact-finding report OPBA Communications Division, 14-214 amending salaries and benefits 3102B9 and 3105 cable TV production assistance. Public Properties Committee, there's 14-215 public restroom facility landscape fountain and naming. Item 3, 14-198 the healthcare renewal. Mayor Hamel?
Yes, sir. The United Healthcare came in at roughly a 7% increase across the board with the plan design changes that were negotiated with our unions and passed on to our non-union employees. It reduces the city share to about 4.23% increase annually. 3 documents will need to be signed. One is the United Healthcare medical renewal, one is the United Healthcare dental renewal. There was no increase in the dental at all. And the other is the business associate agreement with Dino Schuley and Associates. So I respectfully request council's authorization to sign those 3 documents.
And if everybody recalled, attached to this is the budget modification. If you recall, we anticipated an 18% increase in the healthcare cost for the 2015 year. Now it's only a little over 4, which, as you see, will save $122,000 in our general fund budget, which, if you recall, we're trying to look to cut about $500,000 to $600,000 out of that budget for 2015 to help stabilize the future years. Now, the numbers for the future years are going to be a little different. He assumed there would be no moving on of the numbers, but they'll be close to that. Maybe it'll be a little less, of course, but it does help over the future years since it's a cumulative effect. So with what we've been cutting currently out of the general fund budget, this will assist in that. We'll probably still need to cut a few $100,000 out of the general fund budget to make it work, but I think this is a good start to help us out. So,
Almost 100%.
and I think that was
I can wait till you're done.
and I think that going down to that 4% from the 18, I mean, that's a huge savings, as indicated. Other jurisdictions are feeling a 12, I think he said 12 to 13, 14% increase in their healthcare costs. We only have 4, so I think that's because of the mayor's wellness program that he implemented, and I think that's helping us out.
I'm sorry, I forgot to mention the emergency clause. The paperwork, the sooner we can get it signed, the sooner they can get the cards started, the books printed for the employees. So we'd rather get that in their hands early to mid-December rather than, right at the start of the year, just to give them a chance to sort through it.
Any other questions?
We are using the same insurance company, though, right?
Correct.
So there won't be that churn, just the new startup year items.
Correct. Yes, sir.
Okay, and thanks to you and the Bargain for employees for accepting this and making the savings for the city. It's a good win-win-win for
Yes, sir.
everybody. Thank you.
Yes, sir.
Any other questions?
John, the numbers that I gave you for this also assume that the Teamsters will agree to this and that will be done by December 31st. Whether, that, we don't know if that'll happen or not, but just so you know, what I gave you here assumes that all that will work out.
Understood.
We're going to push to that goal.
I'll make a motion to authorize the mayor to enter agreements with United Healthcare for a health, dental, and ES benefits group for the business associates agreement with the emergency clause.
Second, including the emergency clause.
Any further discussion? All in favor with the emergency clause?
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carries. Item number 4, 14199, SPCA 2015 Animal Welfare Services. Mayor?
So we were sent an invoice back at the beginning of the year. We requested some data from the SPCA, some of which was provided. The fees have gone up substantially. The city started in 2003 at $2,000, $2,100 in '04, 2000 in '05, $2,500 in '06, '07, '08, nothing in '09, $2,500 in '10, $4,500 in '11, $9,000 in '12, and '15, $825 in '13. We also asked, Mr. Rose, Councilman Rose, asked the police chief to take a look at the number of times that the police department initiated services from the SPCA or the dog warden, and our numbers are not close to matching the numbers that were provided to us from the SPCA. So if council would like, we could try to vet that out a little bit and come back and discuss this. Or if you'd rather assign it to a committee, we could try to get some better information. I mean, right now, we're looking from July of '13 to April of this year, 6 calls, versus their 126 calls. In fact, they had 126 in 2014. So, there has to be some difference in those numbers there.
Mr. President, I'd like to bring that to the Safety and Health Committee to vet this out with them, have them bring the facts.
To review. I know we received some information here on, their budget. It's based upon their budget, it appears, and there were some questions that I had on the budget with depreciation being included in as far as the expenses and stuff, and the information like that. But I guess I was concerned when we received that email that there was only 6 there. The only thing I could assume is that it was private residents making the calls directly to the SPCA and not the city of Medina being involved in it at all. And I did talk to Nino Piccoli a little bit about animals. Now, these are deceased animals that are on the roads and stuff, and he says that his department only picks those up, I guess. And I don't know if the SPCA does that, but he said he normally picks those up off the road, or his people pick those up.
The street department.
The street department picks
Yes,
those
sir.
up. And the only other concern I had is the one information that I received about somebody down at Twisted having animals there, feral cats needed to be picked up, and the SPCA wouldn't pick them up, is my understanding.
That
So,
was my understanding from the
and that's in the
business
city.
behind them.
So, there are some questions that we do have, at least I had a couple that came out, and with you just presenting that. If you want to do that, I don't know if anybody else on council wants to have questions about that, or is it okay to get some more information? What do you guys want to do?
I'm okay if you want more information. We've got folks are here though, right?
Right.
Yes.
They're here tonight, so what are we just gonna
Well, I don't know if we can get all that, I mean, they could answer their questions, of course, but I don't know if they can answer all of our questions.
Right.
Well,
That's the
like-
only question that I have.
Okay, do you have the information on the 242 calls that were made to the city of Medina? Do you have every address, every person who called?
I don't have
Association?
those with me today, but I can bring
Okay,
those
well,
to you,
that's the
yes.
type of information that I think we need to make.
Well, I guess the
make
question,
a
what
decision.
you're trying to get at, I think, is that, is it one call per animal, or is there like 5 people calling for one animal, or how does that work?
Yeah,
Because
exactly.
we don't know your business, of course.
We only count it as one call per animal, so if 5 people call about the one dog, it's still only considered one.
One call,
yes.
okay. That's,
Yes.
and then I guess I don't know how that works. I mean, because I looked at, from your statistics that you gave us,
Mhm.
I mean, Wadsworth only has like 68. I'm just trying to figure out, why are we so different than all the other cities? I mean, Brunswick, I think they have their own dog warden, but
still do.
why would we have so many, why would we have 4 times?
Wadsworth has a service person that does some of their animal complaints as well.
Oh, to address the complaints? I mean, do we
Yes.
do that at all?
Well, the deceased one, neither does.
But does the
Right.
police handle
And while the police
nuisance
will handle
calls or
a
anything like
stray-
that?
Police will handle a stray because the dog warden won't come out at night. So then we'll take those out. There's an outside container at the pound that we can place them in. And the officers do that with patrol cars.
And the patrol car
Yes, sir.
transports them?
Correct.
Okay, so we don't have 24-hour service from the SPCA?
Well, no, the dog warden, we don't have 24-hour service.
Okay.
If
All
their
right.
folks aren't
Thank you.
working, they don't come out.
Thank
But the
you.
SPCA is a different.
The SPCA is 24 hours a day,
Correct.
Yes,
7 days a week.
and we do assist the police.
And you do assist. I'm agreeable to have it go to Paul's committee as long as, I just think it's important that we look at this, I think, the same way we looked at it last year, that we get an incredible service, whether you increased it by 20% or 50%. I mean, it's still a pretty incredible service if you look at what is provided, because what's provided is not just picking up some animals and disposing of them. I mean, you're getting a pickup service, you're getting an adoption service, you're in effect getting a legal service, you're getting a healthcare medical service, you're getting a housing, if you look at it from the perspective of the animal and the service that's provided community-wide, I think that's how we need to look at it. And we talked about this last year, when you look at the expense we would incur if we had to recreate that service here, it would far exceed that request. So, I know we'll give it a fair hearing.
No, that's the part of the
I think it's
question.
important for us to get all the information so everybody can do that, and then we can come up to a reasonable decision.
Well, then we can get the questions together for people, like some of mine where just their budget went, was it 2011 and 12, for 2 years, some of their, I know they're hiring more people and stuff, but we're going the opposite direction. We're trying to cut, and I know the SPCA, I mean, your guys are growing, of course. So the question is, okay, we had about the same amount of animals every year from 2011 to the year 2011, 12, 13, but yet our cost is going up just because their cost could not be associated with us is going up. I mean, the cost of their budget went from 361,000, that's revenue, total income 361, they have 459 now, but their expense went from 237 to 344, or a total of 382 to 508, which is a pretty big increase in expenses over a 2-year period. So
89% increase in salaries alone.
I mean, that's kind of the questions we want, because I mean, it's not all us. So the question is, what should we be responsible for? We're trying to cut, there's a number, do we try to do part-time, hire somebody part-time to cover that for us, or which makes most sense? I guess that's kind of what you're gonna look
Right,
at.
exactly. Because at the number you want, we can hire a part-time person 30 hours a week for 15,600.
But you can't, for that same price, you cannot perform that basket full of services that the SPCA
We're not in that business.
provides. Well,
We're not in that
it's
business.
a good business to be in.
We're not in that business.
But I guess I don't
I don't wanna be in
The only thing that concerns me is the numbers that you were given and the fact that our officers take the animals there all the time and nobody ever picks them up. And the issue with the feral cat, which is in our city, why wouldn't you guys respond? I mean, those are questions that we have to sort out. I think that's what you're
Exactly.
saying.
Right,
Yes,
exactly.
go
Yeah,
ahead.
this probably isn't, get into all of that, but 5 years ago, we got into our own facility. And then with that, we've had to add employees, and that's obviously, caused some of the increase. Another thing that we did last year, good, bad, or indifferent, we took on all the cats from the county. The county got out of the cat business because of the gassing of the cats, and we are, basically a no-kill facility. That doesn't mean that we don't euthanize, but we don't do it as they did it. Kept the cats 3 days. If they didn't, nobody claimed them, then they were killed. So obviously our expenses have gone up. Won't get into the fact that whether that was a good decision or a bad decision. It was a decision that was made, and we have to live with it because the county isn't about to take the cats back at this point. The next thing is, you talk about the feral cats. Feral cats is a large, large problem in this county, every county, because they just run wild, and we hope, through the help of Mr. Jacob and the commissioners, that we can come up with a trap, neuter, and release program across the county of getting assistance from vets that are willing to take these cats and take care of them. Okay. So our numbers are up, but let me just say to you this. Number one is we appreciate everything that you do to help us in all the ways. I mean, not only the animals, but our run, all the areas. The city has been very helpful. Know this is a big number. Appreciate that. You're trying to cut, also appreciate that. So we are open to certainly listen to, conversation about what it is. We came up with a number. You come back and say, ain't no way. I certainly understand that. So, we want to work with you because we're here for the long run. I mean, we are the humane organization for the county. And so therefore, we need to provide services so that you don't have to get into the animal business. So
There was one question I had. I tried to, are you an Ohio nonprofit corporation?
yes,
What is your name? Because I tried to go online today to
Medina
find it.
County SPCA.
Or it could be Medina County Society for the Prevention of Cruelty.
It's not online. I mean, double check that, because I went out there today looking for you guys and I can't find you.
Really?
Maybe I'm doing it wrong, but.
Where did you search?
Ohio Secretary of State's website and the name search. I searched both Medina, I put Medina County Society for Preservation and Cruelty to Animals, nothing. Then I put, okay, maybe it's Medina County SPCA, nothing. So then I try to put Medina SPCA, nothing. So I don't know what it's under. I mean,
Okay.
that's just a question that I have. I
Yeah,
couldn't
sure.
find you guys.
All right.
Because I figured, you'd be under there. I just wanted to see, because you're a 501c3, which is different, but I just wanted to
Right.
see. And then when I didn't find you, I said, well, what are you guys for? Because it didn't come up. Maybe I have the wrong name. Maybe I don't have your legal name, maybe. That's what I'm saying. I didn't know what it was.
Okay.
Just
We
that-
will get that.
Just-
We will get that for you.
I just have a comment. I agree with Mr. Lamb. I truly see the value of your organization. I appreciate the efforts that you provide for not only just the city, but the county. I know there's always going to be situations where somebody hears something or has been involved with something that they left with a bad taste in their mouth about the SP, but that's every organization. I just hope that everybody on this dais will, if that has happened to them, will put those feelings aside and just kind of look at the facts. And like I said, I don't agree with Mr. Rose as far as we can take that money and hire a part-time person, because I do agree with Mr. Lamb that there's a lot of services that you provide with. Yeah, granted, we could hire one person part-time for that amount of money, but wouldn't be able to provide the services that you
And you
provide
have that.
to us.
I mean, you have it in Wadsworth and Brunswick, and they do it, but we still help them.
And they don't do cats, they just
Yeah.
do dogs, Brunswick, Wadsworth, and the county shelter.
So anyhow, I value your service and hope we can work things out.
And-
And Mr.
and
Rose,
I
I
truly-
appreciate your efforts of getting a lot of the questions, for people on council and for the community in whole.
And it should be our job too to help educate. I mean, we need to be able to provide for you, the reasons that we have some of these things. And, Tracy and I are here tonight because we had to make a change earlier this year, and our executive director, because our expenses were just going through the roof of just taking animals and sliding them into situations like vets that just charge through the nose, and we can't have that. We need to have people who want to work with us and find ways to get things done correctly and not try to, unfortunately, we're here to save animals, but you can't save every one of them.
Right.
And so anyhow, we're working to, find better ways to make this thing a better organization for all concerned.
We appreciate that, and I think that we'll look it over. I mean, my biggest concern, of course, is the money, because we're trying to cut 500,000 out of the budget, now we're adding more. So we have to figure out what can we do, what can't we do, and I think that's kind of what the discussion is going to probably lead to, so.
And that's why we came, is we want you to know that we appreciate everything you've done, and you got a budget, we have a budget, and we need to find the best way to make it work.
Yep. So if you could set a meeting up in the next few weeks on your committee to discuss
Kathy,
that.
if you could please.
This is Tracy Miller. Tracy's our operations person. I mean, she has all the numbers.
Okay, give Kathy your email address so we can work, try to coordinate everybody's schedule.
Maybe not before Dancing with the Stars, okay?
It'll be the day of. You're going to have to make a choice.
I'll be there.
Animals,
I'll be there with the animals.
Oh, okay. I won't be there. Okay. So any other questions? Is everybody okay with that? You okay with that? Well, we appreciate you coming, get more information, try to work that out together.
Thank you very much.
When you want, when you need.
Well, as soon as you can gather the information, we'll put some questions together, maybe hopefully before the committee.
Yes.
So we'll give you the questions so you can bring the information, then we can discuss the answers to them or something.
Like before next month, or,
Can you get it that fast?
Or early next month.
okay.
Either late this month or
Well,
early next
okay, I mean
month.
before your next meeting, or.
Oh, no, it won't be before next meeting.
Okay, okay, okay.
Before the next meeting of council, you talking?
Right, before the next council meeting, it won't be before that.
Because you gotta get,
We got to coordinate the schedules, get the information
Make
all
sure you-
together, and things like that, so.
okay, you gonna, you good?
I'm good.
Okay, good. All right, thanks for coming.
Thank
All right, thank you for having me.
Thank you.
Okay, number 5, 14,200 budget amendments. It looks like we have budget amendments for, what's this first one? This is for 2014-067, Wadsworth Road Drainage Improvement Project is the first one.
The project was already passed, this is just the mechanics of the plan for it.
Any questions?
Move to approve.
Second. All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed, motion carries. Next one is 2014-065, MCRC capital outlay.
This is from the capital funds that are per the joint operating agreement, just for the plan improvements.
This is our contribution to that.
This is the PO.
This is to spend out of that. The contribution is in the budget each year.
What we talked about in your plan.
Right.
Move to approve. Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed, motion carries. 14-201, increase PO 2014-1022, HSH Construction. Who's this, Patrick or Nino?
That's me, Mr. President, I believe, Pat. Thank you. This increasing PO 2014-1022, going to cover additional excavation work. This will increase and bring the purchase order to a total of $20,000. Pat and the engineering uses HSH as well. They're a great storm sewer replacement repair company and excavating. Border Patrol passed Mallard and Dryer, a new vendor for our stream cleaning, or I'm sorry, for our storm sewer grouting. So we have different areas as we camera that we have to clean outlets and head walls to open it up to allow the water to flow out, clean the pipes so we can go forward with respect to the grouting. So that's what this is for.
Maybe. Any other questions from Mr. Pacoli?
Move to approve. Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed, motion carries. Next item we have is 14-202, amending ordinance 12614, Secure Tech 1 for the Parks Department.
Mr.
Mike,
President.
yes.
This was increase was due to a faulty amplifier that was in the system, originally intended to be reused. It has since been replaced and the project is complete now. It was brought back to finance to get an ordinance, which they
Bless you.
not to exceed 14,000, now it's 15,285. And the system works great, we just weekend now in festival. So,
Okay, this is the one down on the park, in the square.
right.
Okay. Any questions?
Move to approve.
Second. All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed, motion carries. 14-203, expenditure of 15,000 Montrose Fords for the street department. Mr. Pacoli?
Thank you, Mr. President. This is for the purchase of a new transit from Montrose Fords, the new Transit Connect, and it's going to be specifically used for the camera sewer truck and its accessories. Currently, the camera and the accessories, generator, and what have you, are in a pickup truck. Now, we talked with the mayor a little bit, and we thought, well, maybe can we put a bed on the pickup? That works, but with respect to winter, taking a pickup out of service, we just gave to the Parks Department a 2008 GMC that we had. So rather than tie up another pickup, with respect just for the camera and the open bed, the Transit will serve the street department well. It'll keep all the equipment there. We have a good price with the CUE contract. As you can see, the quote was $22,848, and I believe it's their last one, and they were holding it contingent upon this meeting.
Question?
Move to approve.
Second. All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed, motion carries. 14204, increase PO 2013-1415, Judco Streets.
That's me as well. Thank you. This is increasing PO 2014 for 1415 for our snow plows. We have purchased 3 snow plows for 3/4 ton trucks. In that quote, the salesman he didn't have the deflectors. The deflectors are the piece of fiberglass or plastic that goes along the top of you probably know, to keep the snow from blowing on the windshield. And a minimal, it's $150. You can make them from mud flaps. They don't last. The thought is to purchase them from this company. They're good to work with, and plus we have an additional plow we want to hang on one of the trucks as we go forward. And that plow price is $4,900 as we paid for the other 3, so that's an additional. And then the $150 for the 4 deflectors will be $600, and that was the increase to take it to $20,200.
Questions?
Move to approve.
Second. All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed, motion carries. 2005 Budget Commission, 14205, Budget Commission amounts and rates.
This next step in the budget process to accept what we sent in with the tax budget. It's normally would be due already, but there's an extension, which is a
Yep. See that? Questions?
Move to approve.
Second.
With the emergency clause.
And the second includes the emergency clause?
All in favor?
Aye.
All opposed, motion carries. 14206, increase PO 2014-1068, Butcher and Son Public Buildings. Mr. Cole.
Thank you. Butcher Son did a great job on raising the buildings, the 6 buildings, the one that was already burnt into the ground with the foundation. And in the one building, I believe it was referenced building number 12, there were some paper products and some debris that had to be disposed of that could not go to Zollinger, so that was the additional cost, and they had the weight in there at 14.19 tons, and it was a $50 per ton cost. So that took the PO, that took the bill a little higher than the what was quoted originally, $709. We got charged for it.
Do they get the recycle rate on that paper? Where'd that paper go?
That I don't know. I mean, they hold that off. We did not.
Because usually you get a per ton money back, but that's not a lot of tonnage.
Move to approve.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed, motion carries.
Thank you.
14207, increase PO 2014-575, Wingfoot Tire for the sanitation department. Mr. Bacoli again.
Thank you. This PO 2014-575 will increase from 25 to 35,000. I did talk to the supervisors, vehicle maintenance, and John as well in sanitation. We're using less tires, thankfully. Last year we had increased the PO up to over $40,000. So this will get us through the end of the year, and said that between the tire recapping and the changing and the maintenance that the gentlemen are doing are using less tires, so I was glad to hear that at least while we're increasing this PO.
Questions?
Move to approve.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
14208, expenditure over $15,000 from Fran Construction for Streets Department. This is again, Mr. Bacoli.
This is getting a little ridiculous.
This is a couple, I appreciate you putting this on the agenda because at the time we didn't have the quotes, and that's what was given to you right before the meeting started. I wanted to reserve a spot on the agenda at least because we couldn't wait for 2 weeks. So discussing the city garage, first off, there's 1,651 square feet on the west side of the garage, the city garage that was pretty much reverted to rubble. It's where we put the water line in that came in from Smith back to the back to the garage expansion for the street department. So little by little, we thought, well, we could do it in-house. We could do little pieces of parts. We haven't done that. It's been since 2011. So I got a couple quotes. We used the Crossroads with our equipment services bid, and they came in, as you can see, at 23,000. That was the email, and it's $24,522. And that was for removal of the existing 6-inch and the excavation, and pouring back at 10 inches thick, because that is on the sanitation side. And we couldn't put it back, we're not gonna put it back.
Which side is the garage, the old garage, which side, the east side or west side?
This is the west side that this is referencing.
Didn't we put another line on the east side or something? Didn't we do some kind of fire
Not since
hydrant?
I've been there. The water line goes on the west side, runs from Smith to the new
It was a
expansion
sanitary
building.
sewer line or something.
Was there anything put on that side, Ben? I don't recall.
We do have a sanitary line that comes diagonally across the back of the facility, and then
I missed
down
it.
adjacent to there, around.
I knew the west side, I don't know.
But, yeah.
And this also involves the pouring of an apron for Reagan Park 1 that Jansen wanted to redo at, I guess, field number 1 they referenced on Weymouth. And want to turn that into a commercial lot, talk with Patrick, at least the apron, and extend that to 38 feet by 24.
Is this coming from Carry Forward, or do you have?
I'm splitting 80% between sanitation and streets, yes, and then I'm not sure what Jansen is paying for the $4,800 portion from.
Because he doesn't have much Carry Forward left over. He's running out. All right, well, we'll find it.
You've got something here for Crossroads. Is this just you showing you got a couple quotes?
That's the
Crossroads is having to
second
do
quote,
it, right?
that's from Crossroads with our equipment
But the
services.
vendor is Brand.
Correct.
Okay.
They were higher, we're not using the equipment services contract.
No, there was too much paperwork.
All right, any other questions?
Move to approve.
Second? All in favor?
Aye.
I'm just curious. 14209, increase PO 2014-1725, Mid-Ohio Concrete. Now we go to Mr. Pat.
Thank you. Previously, Council of the Finance Committee approved an expenditure to put in concrete curb ramps in different parts of the city. As part of that, we did do some street replacement adjacent to those, and this is to cover that cost.
Coming out of the 108 funds. Questions?
Move to approve.
Second. All in favor?
Aye.
Motion carries. 14210, payment of South Court Street emergency water line pavement. Again, this is Mr. Pat.
I'll speak to Neil's afraid to. This is a result of our, the water line break that we experienced at the beginning of September, and then the decision to replace the entire water line, and then, of course, repair the pavement on South Court between Washington and Smith. Listed out all the vendors and contractors we used. I spoke to Mr. Huber before. This was an emergency situation, so I think we'll have to pass an ordinance for several, I don't know if it's one ordinance or several, but stating that it was an emergency. We entered into the contract, so spoke with Keith about it before authorization, but we felt we had no choice. A couple things to point out. We are going back and verifying all these numbers. It may change a little bit, but this will be the highest total. If anything, it'll come down when we start checking timesheets and that kind of stuff. Secondly, it does not include any staff time. The police department provided traffic control throughout. Of course, service department, engineering department, water department all had a tremendous amount of time in there. We did not add that in here. And the last thing to remember, because ODOT's project was going on when this happened, they had to remobilize, come out twice, and actually part of the pavement that they put down was removed when this happened. So we'll be charged for that when ODOT reconciles their final bill. That's likely not to be for several months, I would think.
So are you going to allocate the costs associated with those various departments to the 108 account when that is figured out?
Well, that's a good question.
Mr. Huber was going to check to see whether or not the ballot language permitted us to do that. I mistakenly told the police department that we needed to have traffic control during the rush hours in the morning and the rush hours in the afternoon to bypass that closed block. However, if the ballot language restricts us from using 108, then we may have to just suck it up. let it
Well,
go.
I just want to make sure that, I mean, I know there's monies available, of course, in 108, projects come under budget, so we should be able to cover most of this cost. Some of it's going to be new, I would imagine. But if, like, for taking the water and the sanitation or whomever, the streets department, I mean, that cost, they can't absorb that. So that hopefully will be covered. Yes, Nino?
We used, when we had the Lake Road project, we paid for law enforcement to do traffic control on jobs all these years.
So we have a later precedent, Mr. Huber.
So I guess I'll cite that. I'm not an
So just
attorney.
get stitches.
How you like that one, Pat?
Tell them that, Pat.
I'll speak to it.
Nobody asked me about that one.
You've been doing it for years.
I'd just like to thank everybody for their hard work and coordinated, I'm sure Dawn and the various departments, including the police department, that helped us go as smoothly as possible and to coordinate everything. Just, I mean, you look at all the different vendors that were in here, to coordinate that alone, and we appreciate it. Thanks.
Well, you know, Nino, we haven't had a chance really to discuss it a whole lot, but, you know, Nino and Patrick, and our water superintendent, you know, to know, okay, we can get so many valves here, so many feet of pipe here, so many, and bring all of that aggregate in at one given time, so that that project just kept punching along, and we ended up, instead of the 3 weeks that we estimated, I think it was just a little over 2.5. So we actually got done ahead of schedule by having our staff there with the dump trucks and moving the aggregate with them to the places that they needed, kept the project moving just that much faster. And I can't say enough of the work that everybody did just to make that happen. And I've also talked with Eric and a number of the business, Eric Schaefer from First Merit, and a number of the business owners, and the fact that we had it on Facebook weekly, the fact that we had it on a website, that they were getting blasts from the chamber. They said not only the project ran smoothly, but the information couldn't have been more timely for them, and everybody had, I shouldn't say everybody, most people had nothing but great things to say about it, and I think everybody is satisfied with the finished product.
You know, like I said, you deserve all the accolades that you're receiving. The downside side of that is if something like that happens again, we're going to expect the same type of.
You set the bar.
Yeah, we did. You set the bar pretty high.
ODOT did mention to us,
I'm getting sick.
they have rejected one load of asphalt that was placed, so they are instructing their contractor that asphalt's got to be ground out and replaced. So, and they don't have a date for that yet. I spoke to them today, but that's going to happen. It's about 400 feet of pavement, maybe 10 or 12 feet wide.
But it's on the parking
It's on the parking side.
lanes and will not require the road to be closed.
Good.
So,
But that's why, when you see that happen, that's why.
yeah.
And that's at no cost to the state or us, the contractor has to absorb that.
So it's the parking lanes from the church up to about the back of First Merit, correct? Thereabouts?
It starts at Smith Road. It starts at Smith.
Oh, Smith all the way up to
Going
First
north,
Merit.
just past Castle.
You're getting cold.
All right, Mark?
I'm just, I will have to abstain because a couple of the companies on the vendor list does business with my employer, so.
Move to approve with the emergency clause.
Second, including the emergency clause.
All in favor of the emergency clause?
Aye.
All opposed, all abstentions?
Aye.
We have 14 to 11, various easements for West Smith Road. Mr. Patton.
Thank you. You may remember previously, you all approved the appraisals basically for several easements on West Smith Road. Because we have federal and state funds involved, we have to use an outside ODOT certified or approved right-of-way consultant. They have gotten 7 of them signed. They're before you. All but one of them have signed for the appraised value. The one, which is property number 10, is appraised at $5,600. The property owner felt that they were due an extra $150 for compensation for a section of plastic fence that wasn't part of the original appraisal. Our consultant and me as well has recommended we just pay that $150 rather than go to appropriation if that but all the rest were already accepted by council. There are, just to give you an update, I think 4 more to come. One of those was signed, just didn't get mailed to me yet in time for tonight's meeting or to submit. 2 others, we had some changes in the plans to actually reduce our costs to the easements. The appraisals, initial appraisals were extraordinary. We were able to change the plans and knock those down, and I'll certainly tell you about that when they come through. And the third one, there's still negotiation going on.
Questions?
Move to approve.
Second.
With emergency.
Emergency clause.
Second includes emergency clause.
All in favor?
Aye.
All opposed, motion carries. Next item is 14-12, 2 easements from Lake Road Reconstruction Phase 2.
This one's a little easier, shows you the difference between ODOT's projects and ours. These are 2 easements for that project. Very simple and very inexpensive, both for storm sewer.
Move to approve.
Second.
With the
With the
emergency.
emergency clause.
Second includes the emergency clause.
All in favor?
Aye.
All opposed, motion carries. Okay, 14-13, Fact Finder Report, OPBA Communications Division. Mayor?
Thank you, Mr. President. The fact finder recommend basically the same wages, the same health care, pretty much across the board. What was given to the officers, with the exception of a stipend for EMT certification, I believe was the word. EMT certification, an additional $350 bonus. 3 of our 10 dispatchers currently have that, so that would be about $1,000, $1,050. Mr. Attorney John Delino represented the city on this. It's his recommendation that the council pass this, and then we'll determine whether or not it's acceptable, and if it's not acceptable, the next stop would be arbitration. We have, I'm sorry, we need the emergency clause because we have to pass this within 7 days of receiving the fact finder's report, and I think we received that on either Thursday or Friday. And I believe we sent you all a copy there, right?
Any questions?
Move to approve with emergency clause.
Second including emergency clause.
All in favor?
Aye.
All opposed, motion carries. Final one is 14-214, amending salaries and benefits code, cable TV production assistant. Mayor?
So, I'm sorry, Jared is over taping something at the school and was not able to attend. So he's had this cable TV production assistant. This position has not been filled previously because they were kind of waiting when the state changed how the funding through the cable access occurred. They were not sure how that was going to affect their revenue stream. Now watching it over the past 2 years, there does appear to be money for this. What Jared is asking, previously we had this part-time person at $11.56 an hour, which was at 29 hours a week for the whole year was $17,433. What he's asking to do is reduce the hourly rate to $9.93 an hour. I would recommend, and shared with Jared, that we keep it at the 29 hours a week for 52 weeks rather than cut it back to 25, which still keeps us well below what we were. It comes out to $14,975 annually. So we're saving about $2,400 a year. And the other thing that he wanted to do is give him the advantage, kind of like we've done before with dispatchers and other positions where we're limited to that amount of hours, but it may be one person or it may be 3 people. as long as we don't exceed that 29 hours. The advantage that gives him is there may be some students at the high school that some can work these hours in the day, some can work these hours after school, some can work these hours in the evenings. And by putting them all together and freeing up he and Miles' time to do some more critical things in the studio and putting the things out on the TV and the web for people to see, it would be a good use of these folks at a much lower rate.
Yeah, I mean, I think that's a good idea. I mean, not to exceed for the both people, we don't want to go over 29 hours,
Correct.
no matter how many people work there.
Right.
So I'm okay with that. And if it helps Jared out, that helps out fine. Plus, it's a little less money than it was before.
And he thought he had a job description that limited him to 25 hours. We found out not only did he not have a job description that limited him to 25 hours, he didn't have a job description. So the position's been in the salary and benefits code, but because it was never filled, we never ran a job description through. So he and Lorene are working on that. So it's up to council. We can bring that back to you if you want after this, we run it through the Civil Service Commission. Or if you want to pass a contingent on the job description being approved by the Civil Service Commission.
Well, I mean, we'll bring it all back and pass it at once, because we have
That's
some
fine.
questions.
Okay.
Okay with that?
Fine.
Okay. Anything else to come before the Finance Committee?
I have a question, but it's on a totally different topic.
Got the Finance Committee stuff we can ask you later? Well, we'll adjourn Finance and we can ask you questions.
Okay, thanks.
All right, Finance is adjourned.